Aloha, Richard Albertson here. This is ITS128, and it's November 30th. Let me share my screen. All right. So let's look at this. Let's find out where we are. Syllabus today is November 30th. We should be like around here. I don't know. I think we're back here somewhere. Let me let's look and see where we left off with the last video. And I just do this so you can see. Just to remind you, if you're stuck on a particular problem, you can see it's pretty easy to find where it was I talked about it. So it looks like I ended at 8:22. Does that mean we haven't even gotten into chapter 9 yet? Okay, well, anyway, so let's take a look at, see, somebody had asked me to do 10.12. So I'm going to have a quick diversion here and go and take care of that one. So let me go to the side books, and really we should be in chapter 11. I'm gonna I'll come back to chapter 9 later, maybe, or I'll cover a bunch of them. Classes we have been covering classes in a lecture, haven't we? Haven't you? Okay, well, anyway, so let me do problem 10.12. So let's go see what that is. We're doing exceptions here. 10.12 is where we are given a main program that searches for the ID or the name of a student from a dictionary. And so there is two methods here, which we're going to have to complete, we're going to have to finish. And one is find ID, and the other one is find name. And they return the corresponding information from the student. And then they would like us to put in a TryAccept statement in the main program that catches exceptions that are thrown by find ID and find name. So exceptions and exception handlers are ways of handling expected, unexpected conditions in your code. You know, common expected, unexpected conditions would be if you're expecting the user to type in a number and the user types in a letter. Okay, and you know, normally you would use an int method to convert that number to convert the string number into the actual value number, and it fails because you're asking the int function to do to convert some string that's not a series of digits into a number. You can that can be handled by an exception, a TryAccept structure in Python, and but you can also use that TryAccept structure to handle other errors that types of errors that you can create and name yourself. Okay, so in this case, these two methods are going to be able to raise an exception. So, like for example, function ID returns the ID associated with the student's name. So the parameter here is going to be the name, and it's going to return the ID. And so if the name is in the index, or if the name is in the dictionary, it returns the ID. Otherwise, the function throws an exception called student info error, where where it was not able to find student name. So in other words, you asked the method to return an ID for a non-existent student. And instead of just, you know, the other way to handle an error like that is you would just test to make sure that the student name is in the dictionary, and if it's not, you return an error message. Or you can use this TryAccept structure, and it'll throw the error in a different way. And the nice thing is you can throw the error and return from the method back into the main program all in one step. So the main program takes 2 inputs from a user, and let's see. Takes 2 inputs. 0 would be, let's take a look at the code down here. There's a student error. Here's, we're gonna type in the find ID method. We're gonna type in the find name method. This loads up the dictionary. First one, you read the search option. So you're asking the user choice. Okay, so then 0 was the user choice. And if it's a 0, then it's going to ask for the student name, and it's going to return the student ID. Otherwise, if the choice is not a 0, it's going to ask for the user ID, and it's going to return the name. And that's all this method does. All this program does. Let's do a replit. And let's I'm going to go to Teams and ITS128. And let's go to create Teams REPL. And I'm going to do a Python, and I'm going to, let's do this one here. This is very much out of order as far as the videos go, but it was a special request by somebody. And so I'm going to do that for us all right here. Might as well get a taste of where we should be in the textbook. So let's create this. And then let's grab the code. Paste it here. And so this is the code. And I guess I should. We already have the contents of the dictionary, don't we? It's in here. Charlton 16. Yeah, okay, so okay, so let's copy this. Copy, paste. All right, so the program starts here. So we're creating a class called, does this look right? Okay, so we're defining a class called student error, and it's based off of the exception class. And so it initializes. See, this is it's based off the exception class, and so it's gonna it'll be invoked on an exception, and it's gonna just set when you initialize it, you're gonna pass a message. Okay, so this is gonna read in. This is gonna take in a. So this is a method that is going to take in a name and an info. Oh, it's going to take in a name. So if it's if the name is in info, then return info of name. Info is the dictionary. That's this. So when you call this method, you're going to be passing a name and the dictionary. And this method is going to find the name in this dictionary, and it's going to return the ID, which is the info. So this is the index, which is going to be this thing. And this is the value that's going to return. All right, so that's the find name method. Just a minute here. All right. Okay, so the find name is going to be the same kind of thing where we're going to look for here in this case we actually, since we are looking for the key of the record that has ID as its value, I'm gonna I go for name. I have to loop through each name in info. If the ID here equals info, name, we're looping through. If that's true, then that's what we can return. We can return the name, and so either that's going to happen, or it gets to the very end. It gets to the very end of the loop, and if it gets to the very end of the loop, that means that that an error occurred. And the way we're going to handle the error is going to raise this here, this exception. This is a exception that we defined based off the exception class. So we're going to raise that exception, and it's going to so we raise the, we're going to use the name, and this, and then we're going to include a message, and the message can be something like student. So we searched through to try to find the right name, and we didn't find the name, so we could say student name not found, and we should probably put in the error message the ID that we were searching for, so we can and that should be actually part of the message. This is not a print statement, so it's looking for one single string, so that string can be that. I should put for ID for that. And then in this case, we're trying to look in this dictionary to see if there's a name, a record in there that's got the key value of name. And if it's in there, we return it. Otherwise, we will. Otherwise, we're going to raise an exception. So we do the same thing. And this would be student ID. No, it would still be that the student name is not found. So I'm just going to say student name not found, and it's going to be this name here. All right, so that's so that should take care of the methods that we had to fill in code for. Here we need to so we read in a choice, and it's going to be, if it's 0, it's going to call find ID, and if it's 1, it's going to call find name. Okay, so enter 0 or 1, and 0 will be for find ID, for find ID, or 1 for find name. And I guess I can indicate it's a method they were. All right, so that's the input string, and then we're going to say, oh, we got to do this TryAccept thing. So the format of the TryAccept is, we did not cover that, but I'm just going to really quickly show you where it is. Raising exceptions with functions. Let's just go to the first one here. And okay, here. This is the code. Let's see, this is the code that we're gonna run. And this is where an exception can occur in this code. So you enclose this code in the try. You introduce a new structure called try and then accept. And try is the code that you want to execute when all is well. And if an exception occurs within this try section, it jumps out and into the accept section. And the point is, what's good about this is that then the program just resumes and it continues. It doesn't halt. It doesn't end. And so this is a way of keeping control over your program, even though you ask somebody to type in a number and they go and they type in some letters. You can say, oh, don't type in. I asked for a number, and then your program continues to execute. So that's all we need to do there. And so we're going to take this part, which is how it runs if we don't count on if we don't consider the errors occurring. In fact, let's run this right now. We can see what it looks like. Okay, so it asks for the one. So find ID. If we enter in a 1 and then we enter in that, see, because that does not exist, right? You're right, it does not exist. So I'm going to enter in a 1, and then I'm supposed to enter in. Did I not ask? I didn't ask. I should have asked. Okay, so first I'm going to put something that's there. So this is there. So I'm going to do copy, paste, and it says it's ready. Okay. Now I'm going to fix this. Enter name. And this one is enter ID. So now when I run this, I'm going to do the error one, and I'm going to do a 1 again. And the ID, I'm going to do this incorrect one. Okay, incorrect. And what happens? The program bombs. And the program bombs. Well, we don't want the program to bomb. We want to just say, name not found, and then go back and ask again. So what we do is we put this into a try catch. Oh, by the way, you notice that the error is in main.py on line 71, right here. We're running this one. In this code here, find name, it's trying to figure out what result is. It's trying to get that value. And then on line 48, this was executed. On line 48, this was executed. And so what happens is it returns this message here. And the message is student name not found for this ID. See, that's the ID that you type in. So this is the error message. And that was output from raising the exception here. It raised the exception, and it, set the error message. Then the exception class takes over, and we don't have a listing of the exception class here, but it dumps out all this stuff. Okay, so let's put this into a TryAccept. So I'm going to put a let's see, I'm going to do try, and then I gotta indent all this stuff. And then here I do accept, and I'm gonna do student. Can I do student info error as exect, and then we're going to print out exect. So whatever this is from the exception, that's this. See, this is the name of the exception, and the message then is going to be written into there, and this is what we can print out. So now, now when we run this, and we do 1, and we type in this phony name, it says student name not found for ID, and it didn't bomb. So we could continue on if we wanted to, but we don't. We just quit anyway. So anyway, that is. Let's see. Look at the problem again. It was this one, right? 12. Yes. Custom exception types. All right. Let me just take a look at. I want to see exceptions with lists. Exception. Okay, let me look at this one. In fact, let's do this one. 10.8. Let's do 10.8. Because this will help us understand exceptions a little bit better. And then I'm going to combine 10.8 and 10.12. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So this one is the given program reads a list of single word first names and ages, and outputs a list with the age increment. Clever. So it adds 1 to each of the ages, The program fails and throws an exception if the second input in the line is a string rather than an integer. At the fix me, add the TryAccept to catch the value error exception. So that's called a value error exception. Okay, so let's create a new copy this, copy, go here, go here, 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 here. And I'm going to, I might as well copy this, copy, okay, and then I'm going to copy this code, paste. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read this in, and I'm going to turn it into the name and the age. So I'm going to read it in. I'm going to have a message here saying enter name and age. Okay. And this is going to take it, and it's going to split it into parts 0 and parts 1. Parts 0 is that, and parts 1 is that. So the name is going to be parts 0, and then 1 is going to be, I guess -1 ends it. It ends it, and it's going to loop. And each time it's going to take parts 1, it's going to turn it into an integer, and then it's going to add 1 to it, and that's what it's going to set age to. And then it's going to print out age. It's going to print out name followed by age. And then it's going to ask for parts again, just like it does up here. It's going to ask for it again. So I'm going to put this copy. I'm going to put that right here. It's opposite. Control V. I'm going to say again. All right. And so we're going to run this, and we're going to find that if we type in something for parts 1 that is not, that cannot be converted into an integer, then there's a value error exception that's thrown, and the program bombs. So let's run it and see. Enter name and age, and I'm going to say Joe is 20, and that's okay. Now I'm going to do Mary 10. Okay, no, let's do this one. 10. That's confusing, but that's actually an O and not a 0. Okay, and what happens? What happened is in main PY on line 26, oh, that's right here, line 26, it tried to do this statement. It tried to execute this statement, and there was a value error exception thrown. A value error, invalid literal for int. It was an invalid literal for this function. And it doesn't see that a 0 has a little dot in the middle of it, whereas an O does not. See, this is a 0. It's got a little dot in the middle. The O does not. Yeah, that's how you can tell. So anyway, what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to put in an exception handler that will catch the error, and then they can come back and ask again without any problems. Okay, so I want to put I'm just going to put this inside a TryAccept. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. I'm going to do try colon enter and look, it indents it already. And I'm going to say if that fails, I'm going to say accept. Accept is going to just be age equals 0. Does it say what I'm supposed to do? Okay, yeah, it does. It does. Age equals 0. In other words, the person hasn't been born. The person is about to be born. And that's what happens here when we enter in Mary Beth 19. It takes this as the name, and then it's going to take this as the age. And Beth is cannot be converted into a number. I should have used that example here. So anyway, so we'll just do that, and then and really that's all we have to do. Okay, I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna okay, let's run this and see what this does. So enter name and age. I can say Lee 19. That works. I can say Mary Beth 22, and oh look, it just sets Mary equal to 0. Well, it could have printed out an error message. I'm gonna say I'm gonna try to do the same thing that I did in that other one, which was, can I get it that very easily? Let's see, how did I? Can I, I'm gonna do a quick search here. Python value error. Example. Raise value error example. Exception as error. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this and see if it works. Accept value error. I bet it will work. As EXCPE, that's just a variable. EXPT, whatever. And then down here I say print EXCPT. Is that what that was? This? Well, as. I have to do what as there. Yes. Okay, all good. Then it does that. Let's see what this does. Oh, I'm still stuck. Okay, let's run it again. Mary Beth 20. Invalid literal for int with base 10 Beth. Okay. And then it sets age equal to 0 and prints out Mary 0. Okay. So if we were actually able to, I'm going to go back to the other one I did. Value error. It's called value error. This one. And this does does that exception. Here it does accept value as accept. How about I'm going to do accept value error. Oh, there it is. This doesn't matter, it's just a variable name. Print value error. whatever. And I'm just going to say print student error. All right, I want to see if this works. Run, and I'm going to say, no, there's no real number here, is there? Oh, never mind. I was thinking that one of these inputs is a number, but I guess it's not. So this will probably never get caught. So anyway, this is how you would consider more than one exception at a time. Okay, so I was going to try to demonstrate that by adding a second exception there, but it won't work in this case. Anyway, so let's go back to what these labs here. We did 12 and 8. Oh, here, multiple exception handlers. I'm going to, that was what I was trying to show you. So let's do 10.10, multiple exception handlers. Okay, so let's create a new REPL. I should, let me go back to here. And let me take this out of here. Take this out. That's just confuse you. And it's fine. And let me go back here. Okay, great. So let's go to Teams and let's go to 128 and let's create a new one. And this time I'm going to do 10.10. Multiple exception handlers. Having more than one exception handler. This is kind of a easy one, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna take so this our TryAccept is gonna consider a zero division error when you're trying to divide by 0. And the other one is going to be like this value error, which is when you enter in when you're entering in something that's supposed to be able to be converted into an integer, and it's not. Okay, it's like a letter or something. So it's the other error that it's the error of 10.8. But this also is going to add the error of the dividing by 0, and the purpose of this is to demonstrate that you're able to handle multiple exceptions. Write code that can handle more than one different kind of exception. So you're supposed to do not include code to throw any exception in the program. So if the input is this, it's going to output 5. Okay, so it takes this number and divides it by this number. And so if it takes this number, divides it by this number, it's going to print out an error. And if it takes this number and divides it by this number, it's going to print out an error because we want it to be an integer, and a period was entered in there. Okay, so tell you what, I'll just copy all this for anybody that doesn't have access to the textbook. And then I'm just supposed to, okay, so it reads in the two numbers. Now, So I can put, I don't have to put everything inside the try. Yeah, I don't have to put everything inside the try, so I don't think I will. The first thing I'm going to say is enter. So I'm going to say there's numerator and denominator. Numerator string equals input, enter the numerator. Okay. And then, you know, is there some, can I enter as many as you want? I don't have any loop or anything. No. Numerator and the denominator string equals input, enter the denominator. Okay. And then now I got to do a try catch because I'm going to start doing some functions. I'm making some assumptions about what we're typing. Should be two numbers typed in. So I'm going to do a try. Numerator equals int of numerator string and denominator equals int of denominator string. And print quotient equals does it say anything? Are we, is it all integers? Reads integers, okay. Outputs the quotient. Okay, just the quotient. So quotient equals numerator. Do I do a double divide? I don't know if I do or not. Well, I don't know. You're gonna have to figure that out for yourself. But equals numerator divided by denominator. And I'm just gonna do a single slash here. Okay, for now. And why is it, what's the matter with that? I'm spelling it wrong. I wonder if it's because, no. Print quotient. I'm gonna say quotient equals comma quotient. Accept. And the first thing I'm going to look for is a 0. I don't know if it matters. I wonder if it matters. Well, first I'm going to look at 0 division error as EX. I don't know, it's too hard to type EXCPT, get too mixed up. So I'm just going to use EX. And I'm going to say print 0 cannot don't divide by 0. colon, and let's see what this EX error actually is printed out. And then I'm gonna, why does it do that? And then I'm gonna, there's another, the other exception is the value error. In other words, you type in something for one of these as a, oh, this, the period there, that won't work. Okay, so except, and this will be the value error as EX, and you can say print value error. EX. Okay. So, and then I'm going to do some sort of loopy do. No, I don't think you should do the loopy thing in the for the lab, but I'm going to do this so I can test a bunch of things all at once. So I'm going to do while numerator string is not equal to -1. Oh, yeah, -1. While that's the case, then do all this. Oh, and I got to read these again. Read these in again. If it's a while loop, you better do something here. So I'm going to do here. All right, so let me see what this does. Let's try it again. Here we go. Okay, kind of stutters a little bit. Okay, numerator 15, denominator of 3, and it does perfectly fine thing. Numerator of 15, denominator of 0. Okay. Numerator 15, denominator 5. Okay, right. -1. Okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this side here. There. That way, if I type in a -1 for the numerator string, it'll stop right away. Otherwise, it'll ask for the denominator string. Okay, now what I wanted to test is if the order mattered. All right, so let me try this again. Numerator of 10 with an O, and denominator of 0. Okay, that's the error. Okay, yes. Okay, I don't think it would matter, would it? Right, it wouldn't matter. I don't think it would matter. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try putting this second. 15 1 0 15 0. All right. Actually, I don't think it works. So I think that should wrap it up for today. And I'm gonna post this up, and we will see you on Saturday. Thanks for watching.